Alright, so this is version 3 of iFi's successful Zen DAC product. I love the version 2 and I recommend it to a lot of people. So now let's check out what iFi has done in version 3. So I'm going to go ahead and unbox it, show you guys exactly what you get in the package, and I'll describe the product as I go ahead and do that. Alright, so you do get this nifty quick start guide for your Zen DAC. A front and a back right here, and here's a closer look at the top of the iFi Zen DAC 3, and here's the front of it. It definitely looks a lot more refined and edgy than the original version 2. I really like the design, especially this top portion is different than the bottom, kind of like a two-tone feature here. So I do want to mention that for the price you pay for this, you do get a lot of value. It does have the Burr Brown multi-bit DAC chip, and that supports PCM up to 768 kilohertz, DSD up to 512, and also has full MQA decoding capabilities. But when it comes to high-end audio, this has you covered. So iFi has definitely modernized this device, and I'll go over what they've done later in the video. But first, let's go over everything you see in the front here, all the buttons and the connections. I would like to take a quick moment to thank iFi Audio for sending out this loaner unit for me to review. So the first item you see on the left here is the power match button, and this provides a gain boost for more power hungry headphones. So if you do have some power hungry headphones that are high impedance, then you'll definitely want to switch this on. It does have a little LED right below that will light up to indicate that it's turned on, and it's a smaller switch button that feels nice when you press it. The next feature you see here is the X-Base Plus feature, which is an analog signal processing mode, and this was actually a slightly bigger button than this one. And if you go ahead and turn on X-Base Plus, what it does is it adds more bass to your music without messing up the mid-range, which is really great. So that means you can add some bass to your favorite IEMs or headphones that may be lacking in the bass region to get them just to sound the way you want. So it's really great that they included this feature. It just comes included with this product, which is nice. So what I really like about this product, it's nice and simple. It's got no LCD screens, no like settings or anything, and you have this nice volume knob in the front, just controls your volume. Whether you're using the built-in headphone amplifier to use these outputs here, or you're using this as a preamp for active speakers, you will be able to control the volume using this dial, which feels really good. Has a nice feel to it. I don't know how to explain it, but as you turn it, it stops right where you want it. So next up, you have a single-ended 6.3mm headphone output connection. This DAC is not only a DAC, it does have a built-in headphone amplifier. So again, great value with this device for what you're paying for it. And next to it, you have a 4.4mm connection for a balanced headphone output. Again, you're getting this balanced connection for your balanced headphones, all at the low cost of what you're paying for the Zen DAC 3. So as far as the bottom goes, not much to see there. You've got these little rubber feet that are going to protect your surface so it doesn't scratch it up. On top, it just says iFi, and this thing is built solid. I mean, pretty much all metal as far as I can tell. So yeah, usually devices in this price range, they're made out of mostly plastic, but the fact that this is made out of metal, it's really good. In case you're wondering, this does output a max of 390 milliwatts of headphone power, which should be more than enough for most headphones. All right, so let's take a look at the back. And on the left here, you have a balanced connection, and you would use this, for example, to connect up the iFi Zen CAN headphone amplifier, and you would use a 4.4 to 4.4mm balanced cable, and that way you can have a nice dedicated DAC and headphone amplifier Zen stack, which would give you a nice powerful system. And this little switch here, you can switch it between variable and fixed. If you set it to variable, what it does is allows you to adjust the volume by using the front volume knob when you're just using the internal headphone amplifier, and also when you're connecting to active speakers, you would be able to control the volume on those active speakers using this front knob when it is set to variable. Now you would set it to fixed mode when you're connecting line outputs to a receiver or main amplifier, where you would use that device's volume control to control the volume. You also have this left and right RCA connectors that you would use to either connect up your active speakers or an external amplifier, and these connections would be unbalanced. And now we move on to the one input on this device, and this is where we see the biggest change from the version 2. In the version 2, you had a larger USB 3 connector, which didn't look so nice, and in practicality, this USB-C connection that this version 3 has been upgraded to, I think works much better. It's much more sleek. The cable's gonna be smaller and easier to work with, so I'm definitely glad they upgraded the input to the modern USB-C standard. And finally, on the right, you have the 5-volt power input. So this is where you would connect a 5-volt power adapter. Now you can use this device just by using power from the USB-C connection, but I highly recommend that you do purchase a power adapter. Now you can buy the Zen DAC 3 bundle, which includes the Zen DAC 3 and iFi's power adapter. They have two versions, kind of like a mid-level one and a higher end one. I think you're good with the mid-level one. Again, if you can afford it, go ahead and buy the iFi branded one. It does reduce noise and has extra features that you might want for your audiophile system. But if you don't want to spend the money, you can definitely buy an aftermarket 5-volt power adapter. One that I used that worked for the version 2 was a switchable power adapter that lets you switch the voltages between 5 volts, 12 volts, and so on. That worked just fine, and it just really leveled up the iFi Zen DAC. And I think overall, using that power adapter, it just sounds better. Now let me take a quick look inside the box to see what additional accessories are included. All right, so as you see here, no power adapter is included. You're gonna pretty much have to power your DAC using this USB-A to USB-C cable. It would pretty much get power from your PC or laptop if you hook it up to that. And so this device is small enough that you could definitely use it both like for work and for home use. Again, you would just plug this cable into your laptop or PC and you'd be good to go. But again, I highly recommend you get that power adapter. It's gonna be key getting the best sound from this device. But also included in the package, you have this left and right RCA cable and a 3.5mm to 6.33mm adapter for connecting up your 3.5mm headphones to this DAC using this adapter, since the front of the DAC only has a single end at 6.3mm. All right, now that I've spent quite a bit of time with the iFi Zen DAC version 3, I can give you guys all my thoughts on the sound quality. Overall, the tonality of the Zen DAC is that it produces a very neutral to warm sound signature that is pleasant to listen to. As for the bass on the Zen DAC, it actually sounds very good. In particular, the mid bass provides a good punch. The bass does go into the sub bass, however, not as much as other devices I've heard. If you do want more sub bass, however, you can switch on the X bass feature, and that will give you that more immersive bass that reaches down into the sub bass region. And the X bass is a really great feature to have if you need it. I like that the bass is well controlled and does not bleed into other frequencies. Overall, I was very satisfied with the bass produced by the Zen DAC. Now for the mid-range, it sounds very rich, smooth, and full-bodied, with guitars and vocals sounding excellent. The mid-range on the Zen DAC is definitely pushed forward, allowing you to clearly hear vocals with ease. I would say that there's definitely a lot of energy in this frequency range with this DAC. As for the treble, it sounds very airy and smooth, all while sounding non-fatiguing. It's pleasant to listen to and doesn't sound harsh at all. You can definitely have long listening sessions while using this DAC, which is great. You definitely get a sense of clarity and you can hear all those little details in the music with ease. Now, as I was listening to all my different music, I did pay attention to the soundstage, and on the Zen DAC, it has a very wide soundstage and sounds spacious. You definitely get a sense of depth between vocals and other instruments that you are listening to in the music, which provides a very well layered listening experience. You definitely get excellent separation with this DAC. As for imaging, with that wide soundstage that I mentioned earlier, it provides great imaging, which really gives you a good sense of depth and width in the various instruments you hear in the music. You can definitely pinpoint where the different instruments are within the soundstage, and it does provide for great separation. So now let's talk about gaming, because if you're like me, you want a DAC that can perform well both in music listening as well as gaming. I really don't want to purchase a separate DAC for music listening and one for gaming, for example. So I'm going to describe in detail how the Zen DAC V3 did in gaming. So the bass for gaming was really clean and tight, so provided for a good amount of bass while gaming without being overwhelming. Usually in gaming, you don't want too much bass, as it may bleed into the other frequencies and make it hard to hear little details. But the bass was well controlled on the Zen DAC. The mid-range in gaming was very clear and detailed, which really helped with listening to enemy footsteps. I was really able to track enemy as they were moving towards me just by listening for their footsteps. It was especially useful in Warzone. Every time I went to the gulag, I pretty much won every single time, because I would just go behind a wall and listen for their footsteps and just be already aiming towards the direction when they popped out and ran towards me. As for the treble while gaming, it was very clear and crisp without sounding harsh at all. It really helped me pinpoint the location of smaller sounds I was hearing. Overall, the treble provided a very smooth presentation on this DAC. The Zen DAC had very good soundstage in gaming, as it not only had very wide and deep soundstage, but also gave a great sense of height while playing games, as I was clearly able to pinpoint enemy up above me on rooftops, allowing me to sneak up on them and take them out by knowing exactly where they were just based off of sound. I really love playing games with the Zen DAC because I got a great sense of immersion in the sound as I was gaming. The iFi Zen DAC performed great for gaming in terms of imaging. I was able to pinpoint and track enemy with ease, even through walls, which really gave me a competitive advantage. Overall, I definitely recommend the iFi Zen DAC V3 as a gaming DAC amp for your headphones. It really does give you a competitive advantage with the sounds you are able to hear in multiplayer games. It's hard to find a DAC amp that is good for both listening to music and gaming, but this one can definitely do both very well. So I would like to thank iFi Audio again for sending this out because it did provide me with an excellent experience both for music listening and gaming. And overall, the iFi Zen DAC V3 provides you with excellent sound at a budget price point. I can't believe what I'm hearing, that is being powered only by a USB-C connection off of my laptop. Really sounds amazing. If anyone asks me for a budget desktop DAC amp for their headphones, this will be my recommendation from now on. It's really hard to beat it at its affordable price, and it's so small and portable that you can pack it in your backpack and take it with you on the go and power it off just a USB-C cable. It was able to power all my headphones, and with power match it gave me more than enough boost and gain to make even my most hardest to drive headphones sound great. The X-Bass feature definitely came in handy when I wanted to hear more bass, especially if I wanted to add sub bass to my music and make it more immersive. Not only is this device great for music listening, but it works excellent as a gaming DAC, which will give you that competitive advantage. So you definitely get a lot of connectivity options with the Zen DAC V3. This is a product I definitely recommend for the price range it's in. You get a lot for your money. It also supports balanced headphones with its 4.4mm Pentacon connection here on the right, which will give you a nice boost in volume for the harder to drive headphones, in addition to the power match feature. This is a no-brainer. Get this DAC. You won't be disappointed. I will leave affiliate links down in the description below to everything I've talked about in this video. So if you guys are interested, go ahead and take a look down there. And if this video provided some value to you, please hit that like button on the way out. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.